Do you have a comment or question?
Okay.
Come on up. Well, you can say it from there, Mark. You don't have to come up.
You should be able to hear me. Mark Murray, 2614 Creek Road, Hainesport, New Jersey. Since it's open to comments, this will be the fourth month, January, February, March, April, that we've asked about working with the NJ2A Society. And again, I'm just going to reiterate, some of these people have their own businesses. So if your business, just like they're trying to do with applications for a firearm purchase or ID card, went from $5 to $100, that's a 20 times tax increase. How many of your businesses would survive with that? How about an application permit to purchase? It's going from $2 to $50. That's 25 times. If you have to buy your materials and everything else, they charge you 25 times more. How well will that work? Now, I understand everybody's got to look at it and everything else. The whole thing was put out that it's a sanctuary from the state of New Jersey coming down on people on the Second Amendment. Governor Murphy was flatly told, hey, Second Amendment is essential. He opened everything up except, well, let me rephrase it. He didn't open everything up. He just opened up gun shops and he started using the Nixon check again. So he's one of the few states that, New Jersey's one of the few states that's done that. And people need to be able to go out to the range, need to be able to buy other things to stay current. Just like you all do with whatever business you have. You need to stay current in what you do, your tax laws and everything else. So that's why I'm putting it out. A friend of mine who happens to live here in Hainesport decided he wanted to get a shotgun a couple of weeks ago. He wanted to try and do it. He couldn't because the state was shut down. That's a Second Amendment right from the Constitution. It doesn't come out of Murphy's back pocket. That's all we're asking to do is have everybody go with this in all the states and all the counties in New Jersey and uphold the Second Amendment. There's nothing wrong with it. All the other states are going, hey, you can do this. A few of them are trying to do the same thing. Delaware right now is shutting down its borders to everybody from New Jersey. That's illegal too. You have free movement in the United States. Is it legal? No, but they're doing it. It's hard looking at a police officer and we have to do something. Okay, fine. So that's what we're asking for. It's nothing. Township pays nothing for it. It costs them nothing. If you need more clarification, you can get in touch with Bass River Township. They've done it. They made it a one-page thing. In fact, their solicitor read it at the town hall meeting. It's a suggestion. You can adapt it any way you wish to. So, the bottom line is basically to take care of Second Amendment.
So, as I discussed with you when I saw you personally, I asked John to review that whole resolution. He did send it to me, and quite frankly, I did not put it on this meeting due to the circumstances. It will definitely come up in the next couple meetings. I haven't had a real chance to look it over or even discuss it with John. So, you know, it's there. We know it, and we're going to react to it more.
When taxes come to your business, they want to triple, quadruple them, and they'll tell you, well, we'll just look at it for another 6 months or so.
Well, I'm not going to, Mark. Nobody is going. You're not. Mark. Doesn't work that way, and I'm not going to be bullied into doing something that I have no legal counsel on or no knowledge. So let's just leave it at that. I told you we're going to look at it, and another month or so to look at it is what it's going to wind up taking. The committee, you know, hasn't even looked at it. Nobody. So just bear with us, okay?
Certainly.
If I can just do a quick check. Can everybody that's logged in right now, can you hear us?
Yes.
No, not you. The participating members that are logging in remotely. I've got 12 people on here. Can you guys hear us? An issue. Lee.
Yeah,
can you turn on your audio on your computer and see if you can hear us?
Yep.
Because I'm not getting any response.
Pat, do you have a comment? Nothing?
Okay. That was Anna.
I'm over the FL, but I'm at home, so I'm not in the township building. Can you hear me?
Right, we can hear you. Anna, can you hear us here in the meeting?
Thank you.
No, we can't hear.
So I don't,
Can you hear us here at the meeting?
now we can.
You
Is that
can.
you, Paula?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, if I can ask you guys to mute your phones until we open it up for public comments, that would be great. So I'm not going to touch this computer anymore. I've been trying to troubleshoot this since we started. Okay. Thank you. Mayor?
So we're open for public comment.
Okay,
Ready?
here we go. We are open for public comment. If anybody has any public comments on, yeah.
Take me off the computer for 1 second.
I don't know that I can do that.
I think that you have it on no audio.
Everyone just responded that they could hear me.
We can hear you.
Yeah, they can hear us now.
I can hear you.
Okay, great, thank you. Are we on, what part of? Do you want me to read H's comments to start the public comments?
Whatever you
Okay, sorry,
like to
I'm
do.
trying to get through this.
That's all right. Modern
We,
technology.
I know. And I did not keep H's comments. Yep. So we did receive one public comment on ordinance number 2020-2 for the road improvement project from Mr. H. Krollpfeifer.
Okay, so can I
Sure.
suggest that
Please.
that's on for public hearing? I would recommend that you hold off on that
Oh, okay.
because you're creating a legislative record for the adoption of the ordinance, or at least a consideration of it. I would put that off with that ordinance.
Okay. I apologize. I did not know where we were in the meeting because I was trying to.
Bottom of page 6.
Okay. We had no responses to previously submitted, we had no previously submitted questions from the public on agenda items only. So I'll open
Okay.
it up.
So we're going to move past that?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So the next item is for discussion, presentation, the 2020 budget.
Okay. Let me dare to switch over for the public to see. Can you all see the, my screen?
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, so tonight we have on the agenda, public hearing and adoption of the budget. So wanted to, luckily we have Bob Nahila here, who is our auditor, to join in with this presentation to go over the 2020 budget. So the first screen we have is last year's snapshot of our total budget, which includes our municipal levy, county level levy, regional school district, and local school district. So the amount that we raised last year was almost 19 million. Moving on to page 2 is the same data, but just broken out into percentages. So as you can see, the total municipal property tax percentage from 2019 was 14.28% of your total taxation. And then we have the county and the schools broken out as well. The next slide is a great representation of last year's tax rate allocation, just kind of represented in a $100 bill. And then setting the stage for the 2020 budget. So slide 4 is our operations, our general government functions, basically salaries and wages and other expenses. This is showing how we've decreased this portion of our budget over the past several years. So this year, for general government functions, we are proposing $2,593,154. Next slide is a continued snapshot of our daily operations. These are our statutory expenditures, our deferred charges, PERS, our pension system, Social Security, unemployment, GCRP. These are expenditures that we are obligated to make each year. So the total general appropriations within CAPS is a little over $2.7 million. So the next is your general operations that are not subject to the two CAP laws. And just gives you a snapshot of those expenditures: insurance, construction office, some of the grants that we have already received this year, approval, the Burlington County Park Grant, as well as the Community Development Block Grant. The next is our capital projects. This $700,000 allocation for capital, it brings our capital budget, I think, a little bit over $1 million. I believe it's $1.3 million. So this would enable us to pay as you go for some of our road programs, as well as a command vehicle for the fire company, some traffic calming devices, some additional fire safety equipment. We need to get that stormwater pipeline on Bancroft Lane, as well as a stormwater failure on Edwin Street that we need to address. If everybody can mute their phones so that we can't hear you, that would be great. Or your computers. I'm getting feedback. All right, so next is our municipal debt and deferred charges.
So Paul,
Our debt.
I feel like I'm left out here. We can go, you're reading out for here? All right, maybe I need to wake up. Here we go. I didn't get a chance to go through the agenda. Here we go. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so our municipal debt and deferred charges, as you can see, we have very little debt, $308,000 for 2020, $308,481. That significant reduction from last year. Last year was $579,000. And then our total deferred charges from the sewer project 20 years ago. So that brings us total deferred charges of $147,000. And then the next page is our reserve for uncollected taxes, an amount to be raised by taxation. All right. So our CFO has reduced the total RUT to 98.54%. So at the bottom, if you can, you could just go through and you can see what we are projecting the local school levy to be, the county levy to be, the regional, as well as our open space, which is pretty consistent from year to year, $240,000, and then our local at $2.499399. So our budget this year, what we are proposing is an increase of $43,000. Yeah, I can't control. So we're. Who is it? Lewis?
Yeah, you keep saying Lewis. You need to mute your computer or your phone.
Thanks, Lewis. So the 2020 budget, we are proposing an increase of $43,630, which is equates to $1.42 a month, or $4.25 a quarter, or $17.01 for the average homeowner, assessed at $278,496.
I gotta keep going back.
And then finally, some budget highlights. The 2020 budget utilizes $1.1 million, or 26.32% of our total surplus. As Bob has stated, this is a fiscally responsible amount to utilize, leaving the township ample surplus for future years. Although the amount utilized is higher than prior years, and that specifically is to start our road program, the remaining balance of unutilized fund balance is the highest it has been in 10 years. And I believe our fund balance is 3.2 million? Is that right? 4.4 million? Is that before,
It's before the one.
before the 1.1 million?
You'll have remaining.
Okay. The 2020 budget is at 84,000 under the state appropriation spending cap without utilizing any available cap bank. It is also $433,000 under the state levy cap without utilizing any available cap bank. So again, the 2020 budget increases the local purpose tax rate by 0.00566 cents from 0.319 in 2019 to 0.325 this year. And that's it. Bob, I don't know if you wanted to add to any of that.
The only thing I'll add is that the state has reviewed your budget and gave us approval to adopt.
Okay.
I have a question. I just want to make a statement, or ask a question. This budget is basically the same, we're basically going back to where we were in 2018, right? So we're going to be close to the same as what we paid in 2018. Because last year we were able to decrease taxes, and all we're going is back up to where we were in 2018. So over these 2 years, there's actually no tax increase. I wish we could lower them every year, but sometimes you just can't.
All right, so we will have public hearing on the budget further along in our meeting. So that was just simply our presentation. Okay.
So, you think I should read this proclamation? No?
Yeah?
Read it? All right, so, the next item is a proclamation thanking those on the front lines. And it starts out, as most governmental stuff, with the word whereas. In December 2019, a novel coronavirus outbreak began in Wuhan, China, and since then has touched almost every corner of the world and has shuttered villages, towns, cities, and healthcare facilities. And whereas hundreds of thousands of people around the world have become sickened, and many have died due to this outbreak. And again, whereas the novel coronavirus is also known as COVID-19, CO stands for coronavirus, VI is for virus, and D is for disease. And whereas the first case of COVID-19 hit the United States in February 2020, and since then has transmitted throughout the country, leaving thousands on the front lines to combat this virus by working long hours as they assist those in need in our communities. And whereas around the country, millions of healthcare professionals, first responders, warehouse operators, truck drivers, postal workers, delivery workers, construction workers, grocery store clerks, gas attendants, trash haulers, and public servants are fighting this pandemic and helping ensure the health, well-being, and safety of the citizens of Hainesport Township, the County of Burlington, the State of New Jersey, and the United States of America. And whereas these individuals on the front line are heroes because of their enduring and selfless dedication to their fellow citizens as they continue to work in dangerous conditions, particularly healthcare workers and emergency responders experiencing a short supply of protective gear. And whereas the country is at war with this pandemic, and the great people that Americans rely on in this time are unmatched in any and all regards. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the Township Committee of Hainesport Township extend their sincere gratitude to all these heroes who continue to sacrifice for the sake of the residents of Hainesport Township, Burlington County, the state of New Jersey, and the country. Be it further resolved that the mayor and the township committee extend a personal thank you to every frontline worker and are grateful for everything they are doing for our citizens, and calls on all the residents of Hainesport, the residents of Burlington County, the residents of the state of New Jersey, and across the country to also extend their gratitude for every frontline worker risking their personal health and the health of all those who they love. We are forever grateful for everything these heroes do, and I guess I'm going to sign this right here. So, very well written. Thank you very much. So, the next section is ordinances, and I'm going to ask the committee to enact a motion to table this ordinance for 30 days, due in part to the unforeseen tax collection anticipations that may not come in, and just the general state of the economy, to just hold this off for 30 days. So I'm going to look for a motion on this request.
Are we allowed to,
Okay, we have one motion.
Thank you.
Well, he made the motion, you can't second it also.
I made the motion.
Oh, he made the motion, okay.
So we have a motion and a second.
Hold it.
You have a comment?
Okay.
Do you have a comment?
I have discussion. Do we have
Yes,
discussion?
absolutely.
I'd like to hear what impact, first of all, this money is budgeted for, and we worked hard to maintain a road program. I realize the times we can project aren't good, but this is part of a fund, and I'm a little concerned that if these pipes don't get fixed and all the road programs, if we don't do what we plan to do, this wasn't just done. Plus, I'd like to hear what John has to say about the impact of delaying this.
So my understanding under Robert's rules, there's no discussion for this unless the motion fails.
No, that's not true.
Not true?
No, committee always has the right to discuss a motion, if you're looking to table an ordinance that's on for public hearing. The only question I have, and look, whether you postpone it or don't postpone it, it's a policy decision of the governing body. My question is this: wasn't this contract already awarded?
The contract was awarded contingent upon passage of this ordinance.
Okay.
Can we table it then?
Well, hold on a second. You can, but again, there's a couple of things to come first. So if it was already awarded, conditioned upon the funding being in place, that assumes that the bid specs were already out on the street and that bids were received.
Correct.
All right. So the question then becomes, when were the bids received? And if you table this for 30 days, is the 60 days within which the township committee has to award the contract, does it expire? And if it expires, has the contractor agreed to an extension to continue those prices?
Well, Paul, you and I had a discussion that 30 days would be within the 60 days. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, so we had the bid opening about 3 weeks ago. I can give you an exact date.
While she's looking that up, I think 30 days are going to tell a lot. I've spoken to a lot of commercial landowners in town. They've had 25% of their rents paid and 75% not paid. There's going to be a tax shortage in this township. I don't think anybody knows how much. I hope very, very little, but there's going to be a revenue shortfall. I'm not an expert in taxes. I have two people in here that actually three, Paul included. But I just don't think right now is the time to be spending anything but the necessary items. And I don't think 30 days is going to really hurt this project, but it'll certainly tell tell us where we're at in 30 days. And budgets are budgets, and money is money, you know. I budgeted a lot of things in my business, and once the money was spent, it wasn't there to spend on other things that I needed to spend it on. So, you know, a little lesson from private to public, but
You know, only thing I have to say about that is, I'm surprised that somebody could say they lost 75% of their rent, because usually taxes are paid in a quarter. Wouldn't they have gotten 2 months out of the 3 anyway?
I didn't say they lost. I said 25% of their tenants paid their rent.
For the
Now,
last
I'm
month.
sure maybe some tenants paid today, tomorrow, but, you know, when you shut businesses down for God knows how long, most businesses are 2 weeks out of bankruptcy, if their cash flow is disrupted for 2 weeks. So I'm not a doomsday guy. I don't want to get into, you know, too much, doomsday scenarios, but to hold this project off for 30 days, I think is a prudent, decision. And that's my position on it, so. I respect other positions, but mine's mine.
Excuse me, isn't the money has been put aside in past budgets and is in the current budget to fund this program?
Every year, we move money around from line item to line item when we need it, you know. I mean, budgets are budgets and money's money, you know, and if we come up short, as you guys know, we're responsible to pay the schools. There's talk about, a lot of talk out there about municipalities borrowing money to pay, taxes. So we don't know what's going to happen in 30, 60, 90 days from now. And I just would like to hold, again, I'm just putting it out there that I would like to hold this off for 30 days.
How does it affect the budget going forward, Bob? How does this work out?
I'm checking one thing real fast. Right now, you have in your budget $700,000 from capital through the pot of money that's held in the general capital bank. Right now, that pot of money has $672,000. So, I built if the project's 766. That's 672 that you have in the pot of money. You can't cut it.
Right.
So we could not fund this order. The budget would replenish and bring that 672 up $700,000. By passing the budget, you would have the money you effectively spend.
Wait, so Bob, what happens if our tax collection anticipation rate goes from 98.50 down to 75%? Tell me what happens. What's going to happen in the next 12 to
You're going to do tax
15 months? So we're going to go out and borrow money to pay taxes, and how much is the interest going to be on something like that?
Going to be 7%.
So to hold off for 30 days to see what happens is what I'm,
But will we
I mean, money just,
suffer financial impact for holding off for 30 days? That's what I want.
well, no, Paul and I had a talk today, it still, it doesn't affect the contract at all, according to what you told me.
Well,
It depends on when it was opened and whether we go to
Well,
90,
yeah, we talked
60
about
days,
that.
right? Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of want to hear it.
We talked about it.
so we had our bid opening on March 4th. We do have a pre-construction meeting with Arawak, next week on Thursday. I did speak to our engineers on the project, and yeah, we have to be mindful of the 60-day period. Right now, some of the fluctuating costs associated with these projects are very low, gas, asphalt. So we do stand a chance of this capital project, the cost of it going up. You know, that is a risk. Gas prices and asphalt, you know, could increase. Anything with petroleum is not a fixed amount. Those fluctuate. And then we will have to go back out to bid.
We'll have to go out to bid.
We'll have
Unless-
to, well, unless the
Unless the
contractors.
contractor agrees to extend.
So,
Right.
hold on, because maybe I missed something. So holding this off to the next meeting, from what I understood, didn't change anything.
For 30 days.
Okay, so that's 30 days. That's 30 days from today.
What's going to change between now and then?
No, it takes you past 60 days.
You have a tax,
Takes you
I was
past
told,
60
I was told.
If you go March 4th bid opening, plus 60 days is May 4th, right?
In our next...
And your next meeting isn't until May 12th.
Is the bid opening date the date, or is the date that they received the letter from the engineer telling them that we were awarding?
Once you open the bid, that 60 days is running.
Okay.
I would be perfectly willing to ask for a special meeting in 30 days and feel a lot more comfortable as a voting member of this committee where the town's finances lie 30 days from now. I mean,
How does that affect the budget? Does it affect the budget? Can we pass the budget? I mean,
Yeah, you can, the budget's independent.
That's where I'm going.
Budget's independent, but listen, here's the math. Tabling it another 30 days from today takes you to May 7th, which is a Thursday. It's still past the 60 days. So all I'm saying is you can do whatever you want to do, but there are ramifications if the contractor says, I'm not going to extend my bid, go back out on the street and I'm going to bid again.
I think we can take a look at it, certainly 3.5 weeks from now,
Oh, if he
and know where we
no.
are and have a special meeting,
Exactly. If
to
he says,
prove that.
no, I'm not going to extend it, then you have a special meeting.
So,
Could there be a timing impact, since most road projects get done during the summer when there's less school bus traffic and all? Or how busy is the contractor going to be? Maybe this was
Well, if you have a
early
special
summer
meeting, if he says, no, I'm not going to extend it an additional 30 days, then you call a special meeting, right? The problem is, you can't table this ordinance tonight to then, right? Because you're either going to have to pick a date now to table the ordinance to, so there's a date that people know, because you have not had a public hearing. So you can't award it until you've had the public hearing on this ordinance, and it's not a bond ordinance, so it becomes effective right away. It's just appropriating monies out of the capital improvement fund, right? So we're not borrowing.
Can we move forward with the public hearing and then,
You can move forward with the public hearing, close the public hearing,
right?
right? Table it, pick a date now, pick a date theoretically of April 30th. I don't care.
well, in all candor, I don't represent the contractor. I represent the taxpayers, and a budget's a budget, and money's money, and I don't think anybody here can predict. I know we have, 3 great experts here on taxes and tax collections. We don't know what's going to happen. I know in my own particular business, if I didn't have the funding to personally lend my business the money to pay the taxes weren't getting paid. And that's just the way it is. And if, a lot of these guys don't have the money to lend their businesses, they're shut down. I mean, we all see it. So I don't know what we're going to collect here. And for me to vote, and I don't want to be facetious and call it label it a spending spree or whatever, but I don't think this town should be on any non-discretionary spending at all, just for, and like I respect, I appreciate John's guidance on the dates and everything. And I don't think the committee can, I hope the committee would agree to a special meeting just in time and see where things lay in 2 or 3 weeks. So that's all I'm going to say about it.
Can I ask a question? Because the next quarter's taxes aren't due until May. How are you going to know beforehand whether or not you're going to be collecting them?
I don't know that.
So,
But I think we'll have a leg.
What will you know in
I
3
think-
weeks that you don't?
So you want to
know
spend the money anyway?
I'm just asking the question.
No, I know. I think listen, for all we know, things could open up in 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, we all know the state of the economy, and we just have to open our eyes and see. I can't, Paul has already had certain landowners call me, I'm not paying my taxes. I don't have the money. We've already had them call us. I've spoken to another landlord here. I'm not going to drop any names, but and again, there's some other businesses that have sufficient savings to stave off their tax payments. But when businesses open up, the first thing they're gonna need is goods. And the suppliers are gonna clamp down on them, and they're gonna wanna make them pay for their merchandise. And then the next thing they gotta come up with is money to pay their employees. And then maybe 30, 45 days later, they're gonna collect. And then the rents, the car payments, all the things that aren't in their face are gonna start to get paid, and taxes are gonna be one of them. So, I can't honestly say. I was hoping we could, table it till later, when Paul and I had the discussion today. At this point, I would prefer to wait. I would prefer to wait.
Well,
But I don't want to put the town in any, I don't want to put the town in any, any situation where a penalty is paid, but on the other hand, I'm just letting you know, I am not voting for this ordinance, in all candor, so I just think it can wait.
let me ask John, if they don't go for it, if the contractor says, we're not giving you an extra 60 days, then we have to go out to bid again, they will not even get done during the summer, more than likely, is that correct? Would you think?
Well, I don't know how long,
Been that way.
I don't know how long it will be out on the street. That's up to you guys to decide how long you want it out on the street. It's been on the street once. I suspect the specs aren't going to change. So-
We're very proactive on this road program now, and I'd hate to see us.
There's nobody tugging at us to do these roads. They're serviceable. They definitely do need some improvements, and under better times, I would be all for it. But right now, that's a lot of money. It represents a, huge amount of cash, and I just can't say anything more about it. It's just, budgets and the one thing and money's another.
Let me ask you this. Because again, if you can't pick a date tonight to have the public hearing, then it's just going to die. Because you've got to let people know when the public hearing is going to be.
Mhm.
And you can't just do that by a special meeting. You can't just table it tonight indefinitely and then decide to have a special meeting. So why don't you do this? Paula asked the question earlier.
May
You've
I
got-
add something?
No? Oh, I'm sorry,
No.
Lee? Yeah, Lee can. I thought it was
Lee?
another
Is that
for
you,
the
Lee?
public. Sorry, Lee.
Yes.
Any way we can have a special meeting, can we figure out the date, because Bruce is spot on. Everything he's saying, he's trying to protect the residents of Hainesport, and, if we can make this happen, that would be great.
Well, but you can, and that's what I was saying, if you can pick a date now, or the other alternative is, you have one comment in from the public, there may be people who want to be heard tonight, because this is when it was advertised for, have the public hearing on the ordinance and don't vote on it, close the public hearing, right? And then, it's only up to you guys as to when you want to vote on it, and then you can have a special meeting to have the vote. You don't have to vote on it tonight.
This is uncertainty, like things is always best.
Is
I mean-
there a time frame for when we would have to have the meeting?
Well, it's going to depend upon whether or not the contractor says it'll extend or it won't extend. If it says it'll extend, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I'm not talking for the contractor, but I have my feelings about what the contractor will do for a $766,000 project. But anyway, I'm certainly not worried about the contractor, frankly.
If I
I'm worried
can-
about the next 120 days in this township. Yes.
Well, if I can just suggest going ahead and scheduling a special meeting, because, this leads, I don't want to open it up for the next discussion, but there's an additional reason to have a special meeting, and that's to discuss the second quarter tax payments. The Senate is meeting on Thursday. They may be potentially voting on some items. Our next meeting is not scheduled until May 12th, which is beyond our second grace period. So I was going to make a suggestion anyway that we do have a special meeting for that reason. So with that being said, I strongly suggest you move forward on the vote, then close it, or move forward on the public hearing, don't vote, and then defer it to our special meeting.
Or just
Here-
postpone, or just pick the special meeting tonight and postpone the hearing till then. Yeah, those are your two choices. Otherwise, and I'm not worried about the contract either, Mayor. I
Yeah.
understand something. What I'm worried about is, you have a price, evidently it's a good price. Does it go up if the contractor says, and I understand what you're saying about in terms of the odds are for $766,000, he's probably not going to change his price. I'm not skilled enough to predict that. So all I'm saying is, if this doesn't get a date for a new hearing, or if you don't have the hearing, close the hearing and then table your vote to a date, then, and if he doesn't say, I'll extend it, you're gonna have to rebid it. And that costs money.
So, educate me, Paul, the taxes are, the municipal taxes are due in here on the 15th?
May 1st.
May 1st. So
10-day
by May
grace period.
1st, and I'm not worried, I mean, May 1st is gonna be, you know, if we're gonna be short, we're gonna be short, but we all know that the economic ramifications of what are going on here are gonna be a direct result on how long things are shut down, and we don't know how long things are gonna be shut down, but I've been in business all my life, and I'm telling you, we're gonna come up short in taxes, and I just don't think we should be spending $766,000 or even buying one extra paper clip right now. I don't think we should. And then what's gonna happen when we have to borrow money, you know, and bear in mind, everybody, we have to pay the school tax. Whether or not we get one nickel in here, we owe the school a lot of money every month. A lot.
So what's the date for the special meeting?
Wanna do it on the 7th? When's it
No,
due?
That's a Thursday.
So when is the 60 days, Paula?
March 4th
May
is when we
4th.
had,
May 4th? So, I mean, in all deference, I would, to the contractor, and to avoid a rebidding process, I really think we're gonna know where we're at on May 3rd or May 2nd, whatever the closest date of that, or did you
Well, the
say
first
April
is
30th?
April 30th is the
I
Thursday.
think we'll all know where we're at a little better in 3 weeks.
So what?
April
I
30th,
agree with you.
Thursday, April 30th, or Thursday, April
And there's
30th?
nobody's
plenty of
got a
time.
gun to our head to do this right
Okay,
now.
do you mind if we schedule the meeting a little earlier? Just simply because most people are at home anyway, so.
So you're saying earlier in the day?
Yes,
Whenever you want to do it.
So we're doing April
5:30?
30th, is what you're saying?
April 30th, 5:30?
You can do it 3 o'clock in the afternoon if you want.
No, I don't want to, yeah, I'm available.
John? You can do earlier in the day, like 3 o'clock?
Whatever is good for the committee.
Let's do 3
And
o'clock.
I don't necessarily know that tax collections for this quarter are going to necessarily be a blueprint for what's going to happen down the road.
That's correct.
If I had my druthers, I would just cancel it and redo it. But I don't want to create a lot of trouble for everybody, and including my fellow committee members. But let's just see what happens. You know, see what happens in 3 weeks. So,
All right,
okay. So we had public comment
What
on.
time did you pick?
3 o'clock.
So can I ask Ms. Schneider, would you amend your motion to table the public hearing on ordinance 2020-2 to Thursday, April 30th at 3 p.m.?
Yes.
Ted?
Would
Ted,
Mr.
you
Cox-
there?
Mr. Co- amend your second?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so it's,
I said yes.
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 Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So public hearing will be on April 30th at 3 PM. And I'll advertise accordingly with the special meeting.
So this is interesting here. At this point, do I need to read this comment or not?
no, that
No,
gets tabled
that's
to the
wait.
public hearing.
Okay, so just let it go. Okay,
I can give this back to you.
all right. I'm trying to... Sometimes I get a little mixed up here, I apologize. Okay. All right, so this is an ordinance, 2020-3, and we're trying to find a way to give better service to the residents, but at the same time, keep that ability within the realm of our Public Works Department, the reality of them to handle the yard waste and trash and construction debris. We all know we had some bad weather last year, and we had things laying out, and literally, I wasn't in government at that time. I watched my neighbors put more out the minute the truck came, and then it sat out there again for another 3 to 4 weeks. So what we're trying to do with this ordinance is educate the homeowners what our ability is to pick this material up so they aren't putting it out on the street and causing traffic problems and just an unsightly appearance around town. So it's kind of wordy. How are we going to get this information out to the public? Insofar as much as what we're doing?
We'll have public advertising on
Okay.
the public hearing.
Okay.
This is just for introduction.
Right, okay. So this is for introduction. Okay. The other thing is, we have a real nice town, and part of this ordinance is that we're trying to keep trash collection devices and the recycling sort of hidden from the street. So when you drive down the street, the first thing you're not seeing is these refuse containers in front of everybody's house.
Can't,
So, do we need to have any public comment on this first?
it's
No,
its first
it
reading.
says public hearing in front, okay.
This
Says
is just
final.
introduction.
Okay, so I see, it's on May
Right.
12th.
And we'll have it posted at the municipal
So-
meeting as well.
I would offer this ordinance, I'm sure all the committee members have read it, hopefully the whole thing. It's pretty wordy.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so, the next one is ordinance 2020-4, and this is an ordinance that is going to provide the approval and payment of...
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right, first, can you just bring
I'm
the
suppo-
mic closer to
I'm
you?
talking right into the mic. I mean, and I'm loud anyway. I can yell a little. It says it's on.
It sounds like-
All of a sudden, you can't hear me? I've been
Sounds
talking
like
all
it's
day. All right. Whoever couldn't hear me, can you hear me now? Okay. Go ahead. So, ordinance 2020-4 is next, and this authorizes the approval and payment of claims between meetings of the Township Committee. In other words, payment of bills. There's some worriment that we might have some disruption of meetings with the current situation. So this enables our CFO and our administrator to basically pay bills. So this is up for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve 2020-4.
I'll second.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, so public hearing will be May 12th on that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, John, were we going to read all of these resolutions?
No, you're doing them
Yeah.
as a consent agenda.
It's consent agenda, but before,
So should I read them off, so at least the members of the
no,
audience
I have,
can hear them, or
I
they?
have the agenda posted on,
Okay,
they're
okay.
sharing my, they can
Okay.
see it on my screen, but I do ask,
Yeah, we're-
request the addition of resolution
Right.
2020-100, which is, hold on, please.
Yeah, we have a project that we want to... Small
Just grab
project.
it. Let me just get to it. So it's a resolution to award a professional service contract for engineering services for the 2019-2020 CDBG project.
So this is the grant that I'm not going to say we get, but through our good professionals here, we apply for, and we just have to do some engineering on some sidewalks and certain things. So this resolution, well, we need a motion to amend the agenda to include this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Ted, are you with us?
Well, we could do roll call. We'll let Tara do a roll call.
Ted, you there? It's all right.
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
I'm here.
Ted?
He said,
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so rather than read all of these resolutions, they go from 2020-85-3. They don't run concurrently, but what was the last one?
Okay.
Paul?
2020-100-4, and it's number K.
2020-100.
Number K.
Okay. So we're looking for a motion on these consent resolutions.
So move.
I'll second it.
Okay, vote.
Yes.
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 Well, we are.
Okay, we all good? So, this, item 10 is the 2020 budget, resolution 2020-98.
your phone, please.
-98-4 authorizes the 2020 budget to be read by title only.
So moved. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. B is public comment on the budget, Paul?
Yes, now we have public comment on the 2020 budget.
Mark Murdy, 2614 Creek Road, Hainesport, New Jersey. The part of resolution 2020-96-4, septic performance bond for Hainesport.
This is on the budget.
This is just the budget. You'll get public comment after. This is just on the budget. Yes, sir. I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
super. So on the budget, you already have theoretically money in here to do the street repair work, which you don't want to do, I understand that. But if I'm not mistaken, in the last meeting, the meeting before, we had a 1.4% tax, to make sure we had a bank safety net, is that correct?
Well,
Out of the cap.
Our cap bank, yes.
And how much was that exactly? That's okay.
$1 is $27,230.
Okay, so, and right now, we're sitting with an excess of 3.2 million?
Right.
Okay, so the company, since you're worried about this budget, and I know this went back to the other thing, it's getting $766,000. They live in some other country, or are they here? So we're supplying jobs to people who live here, which in turn is gonna help our tax base. If we don't pay them, there's no way they can pay us, correct?
I don't know the relevance of that, Mark. We don't know where these people live. Are you referring to the people that work for the contractor?
Yeah. We're going on the
All-
contract with somebody for
All
$766,000.
all the committee did, in my opinion, was hold that off for 3 weeks.
And I understand.
That's
that.
all we've done.
And here's my next question.
And I'm happy to get that much.
Okay, good. Since nothing has happened since the last month, we've all been in lockdown, has nobody decided on their own to call the contractor and let them know how greatly you're worried about where our money's going until the evening right now?
I'm sure Paul is going to communicate with him. But
The last month this hasn't happened.
this just came up in the last couple of days, and frankly, I'm the one who brought it up. I appreciate the committee giving it 3 weeks. I don't ask for much. I'm just a little worried about money. Okay, anybody else with comments? We op-
Anybody online like to offer any comments on the budget?
Yes, this Louis.
Okay, Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more funding, incoming for the 2020 budget for the state of New Jersey?
Are we receiving any income for the 2020 budget from the state?
Yes.
Okay. I do believe we are getting our energy tax receipt is stable.
Same as last year, 379,760.
379,764. Obviously, we don't expect to now receive that until the end of the year, since the state pushed their fiscal year to September 15th, September 1st. So it's just going to be a little bit later in the year that we'll receive it, but that's what we get from the state every year. So it's
What was the additional funding from the 355 billion? I think $1 billion in the state and the federal has helped the budget. Use that?
none of that has been allocated locally at this point in time.
It's not 345, it's 150.
Thanks, Louis. Anyone else?
Okay, I'm going to close public comment. And now we have Resolution 2020-99-4, which adopts the 2020 budget. And I'll open the floor for a motion.
So move.
Second?
Yes.
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 Lee? Vote, I don't know if she could hear, Jerry.
Lee?
Vote on the budget.
She's affirmative.
Yes. So, we have some business licenses listed. So we're looking for a motion to approve them. And here was something we used to do, and I'm sure you've done it. I guess all their taxes are paid, right?
Well, yes. They're not in any kind of arrears. There are no
Not yet.
code enforcement issues.
Not
There's no
yet.
fire official issues.
And I hope they
They're fully
are.
vetted.
Good, I wish them all well.
Excuse me, I think
Yeah.
Lewis still has, you can use, phone.
Louis? Louis, can you mute your phone, please?
I already did that.
Do we need a motion on this?
Okay. Thanks, Nancy.
Pardon me? Somebody calling me?
No, still have,
I know.
We got one motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the business licenses. Lee was the motion?
Yes.
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 Yes. So in correspondence, again, we have the Second Amendment letter coming up, and I just want everybody to know that we're working on it. Give us another month or so. We have a little more pressing issues in my mind. And like I said, I've gotten a legal opinion from John on a lot of the statements made in these letters, which I want to make sure we're accurate in anything we do. We have a great solicitor, and I want to utilize his skills in anything we do here in town. So we're going to motion to receive and file correspondence, please.
Move, so move.
Second.
Yes.
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 Okay. Yes. So we now have comments from the public on any item you wish to talk about, Mark? You had another comment? Or did you remember what it was? I'm sorry you got...
No, it's okay. What I mentioned before, if you have problems with the Second Amendment stuff, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and ask them.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, and then also, you can check the Gas River and look at there's a completely different than what we put down too. So I'm just trying to be helpful with that. Also on the money, I don't know what's gonna happen with everybody else, but I'm sure most of the people are trying to do the best they can with their taxes. The president says to spend out a lot of money, is it could be enough? No, but we need to get people back to work. It's that simple. We lose 7,000 people every single day in this country, through car accidents, poisoning, and everything else. We've got a total of 12,000 people now that have died. So that's only 2 days of a normal week, and yet the whole country shut down. So hopefully it'll get back, like you said, people get back to work.
Anybody else on the internet for comment?
I do.
Hey,
Go
who's,
ahead, who's talking?
This is Cindy Tavermina from 105 Mason Woods Lane.
Can you spell your last name, please?
It's T-A-V as in Victor, O-R-M-I-N-A.
Okay, and what was your address again?
It's 105 Mason Woods Lane.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Now, excuse my ignorance through this process because I don't know exactly how it happens. But I am inquiring about the lot that was sold on Creek Road last month. It was bought in March. I've been to the environmental meeting and they had no plans. There were no plans that they were heard about that anything was going there. I reached out to Paula, I reached out to you because I know that there are plans for low-income housing apartment buildings to be built there, but yet there is no paperwork or anything that I could find tangible to alert my neighbors. I have, my whole street, everybody wants to know, so we have a lot of people that are interested, yet I'm getting, from anybody I ask on the committees or the township, whatever, they know nothing about it. So how do I go about putting that on an agenda, having a meeting, anything like that?
What is that coming on?
Louis, can you put your phone on mute, please? Thank you. I still hear that one.
are we turned up here? We might be getting feedback
No,
through the
it's
microphone.
it's something in the laptop.
It started when you,
Something in the laptop. Can you guys hear that buzzing noise?
Yeah.
Steven, I can't, yeah, I can hear it too, I'm sorry. I cannot figure out what this is.
So is there any input on what I need to do as a resident about that property across the street? The deed is not available yet, and like I said, nobody on the committees, any of the committees, know anything about the plans, but there are plans for 3 apartment buildings to go up there.
so what I know about it, this is, Bruce McLaughlin speaking.
I can't hear it.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit.
Really? So what I know about the project is we have a lot of affordable housing builders coming in that want to come into town because of the way the state graded us, which is a complicated process, but the state gives us a grade based on transportation, I guess quality of life issues, and many, many other criteria. And from what I understand, we have somewhat of 100. Is that right, Paula? Our grade is 100? Am I correct? It's very high if it's not 100. So what that does is when an affordable housing developer wants to apply for tax credits, they choose a town, and the grade of the township somehow comes into play. John, correct me if I'm wrong at any point, for tax credits that the state will issue a builder because it takes tax credits to build affordable housing. Now, Hainesport's been mandated by the courts to build somewhat, John, I'm going to ask your,
Well, yeah,
how many? There's quite a few units.
the township has a responsibility and an obligation under the Constitution to provide for its fair share of the regional obligation for affordable housing. And so the project to which Ms. Taverino refers is a proposed affordable housing. It's not low income. It's low and moderate income housing. It's affordable housing, and it's proposed by a developer who, as the mayor said, is going to be seeking low income housing tax credits from the state to help subsidize that development. There is no site plan application. There's been no approval of the project itself. It's been before the township committee, and there were resolutions adopted regarding it, but right now, it has not gone before any planning board, but it is part of the township's proposed game plan in terms of how we're going to satisfy our affordable housing obligation. But it is not, it's not finalized. It's still, I believe it's still on the drawing board as far as the developer is concerned. I think you're right, they did close on the property. And we're going to wait to hear from them.
But we did rezone, they did rezone it to be so that it's not single houses. Am I correct?
I don't
know where that happened or why.
Yeah, I don't believe it's been rezoned.
There has been no rezoning.
Right.
Zoned in December of 2019. I have the documents from, your meeting, a township meeting in 2019, that lot was, I think it was December, I'm not sure, but it was rezoned. It says in the property information that it used to be for single family homes, and then it was rezoned to open up, and I don't know where that happened or how or why.
Can you tell us what you're referring to, ma'am?
What document do you have?
I'm referring to the land was rezoned. It's out there. I don't have it right in front of me, but if I pull up the where I look into the real estate area, it says right there that it was rezoned from single family homes to right here. It says there was a previous application by a large builder for a 32 home community. The original property was subdivided, and now they're
Quaker.
That's
another piece of
Quaker.
property.
I'm sorry, that's a different development.
It's off of Bancroft.
That's off of Bancroft Lane and Route 38.
Here, I have a picture of it in front of my face. It's 0 Creek Road, Hainesport, New Jersey. I got the tax ID number 16-00104-0000106. It was bought for, let's see, $375,000 on 2/28/2020. The agreement of sale was on 10/3/19.
But that's not a rezoning.
No.
It's not been rezoned.
We didn't do a redevelopment plan for that, did we?
No.
Single family homes. Am I not correct in that information? And then I heard 3 apartment buildings are being built there.
They're being considered. There is a concept plan, but again, nothing's been submitted to the planning board yet.
Yeah, so what our attorney's saying is there's been no hearing at the planning board level to grant any approvals for this project, as far as I know, at this point.
Correct.
Right.
There has been no formal action at the committee level in terms of rezoning or granting this project. Everything is at conceptual level.
Okay. So the plans that are out there are not accepted yet, so.
Correct.
There's no plans.
Basically, concerned citizens and
Right.
neighbors need to keep coming to all the meetings here on out to have a say.
I'm sure the public would have has input in these things, absolutely. Even and I'm not saying he's never going to get the tax credits, but there's a lot of competition out there for these credits, to do these projects. And it's not low income, it's affordable. And if I'm not mistaken, $60,000 income is, for one of the 3-bedroom units. So it's not welfare.
I'm not worried about the income level. What I'm worried about is a 3-story, 3 buildings, across the street from my house on the little tiny road leading out under the train bridge.
Okay, I hear you. Well, just keep informed. We don't have anything before us at this time other than a drawing at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the public?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, go ahead.
This Lewis on Mahali, the resident of Mahali. And I got a couple of questions. First question is, you're going to have a tax relief payment for the Hainesport, like a Mahali did?
Mount Holly Day?
What did Mount Holly do, Lewis?
I said, you don't have to, I don't know if you don't have to pay any taxes for the, for local government. You don't have to pay nothing. I think $365 billion package coming out all over because that's to us. Come to Bahari, pay for everything, to apply for it.
Well, wait.
I'm not aware.
Lewis, are you talking about a deferment of paying taxes? Or, I don't,
I looked at the Mahali website, and there's some relief for the person who cancel the property tax.
okay,
Might be the senior.
yeah,
fees.
I have a comment about that. Maybe you can stay tuned, okay?
If you want,
When I make my comment,
I'll
yeah,
look at it now.
yeah. Let me address that in my comments, Louis. Anybody else? I'm going to skip over that for now.
I think Lewis had another,
question.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just another one. What portion is Eastport Township, that the workshop, the public department is taking against the COVID-19?
Go ahead.
Okay, so administratively, you want to know what we're doing to keep our employees safe?
Yeah, especially senior citizens, or if you people, what you take precautions.
Well, I can speak for what we're doing here at the municipal building and our employees and our staff members. I can't really speak for our senior citizens other than what advice they're heeding in terms of the CDC's recommendations and the health department and, the emergency management offices and the governor and the president. But we're not really, hands-on with them.
Yeah.
So are you're more concerned about the seniors of the community is what you're referring to?
But as a whole
Yeah.
community of Eastport.
Mayor?
So what Paula has done is to be congratulated. She has, number one, we've closed the building down to the public, but at the same time, we've kept servicing the residents for building permits, tax payments, and in so far as much as practicing social distancing. Paula has pretty much given each employee their own office at this point in time. We've separated Public Works employees, and from what I understand, they're in their own vehicles. They're not to ride with each other. And, of course, we're keeping them away from residents. As you know, we've closed the playgrounds down, the playground equipment down, but we've kept the walking trails and the open areas of the park available for residents. And I don't know if you come here, Louis, but they're very, very busy every day. I've never seen residents out walking in Hainesport like I've done, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but in the last week or so when we get some nice weather. So I think Paul has done a great job in reacting to this, and then also she's on the phone with numerous conference calls pretty much all day long from the state, the county, the free, this one, that one. There's just so many calls coming in, and things are changing minute by minute. So, we're very tuned into what's going on out there, and the township's doing a phenomenal job. And as you know, I think the latest count, we had 8 cases in town. 9 now.
From quarantine. I can, if I may.
Absolutely.
Speak to, I know our emergency management office is participating in the Register Ready program, which is a state-sponsored program to make sure our most vulnerable residents are registered in a database, which he has direct access to. So we know specifically who our residents are in the town that are in need should a major catastrophe or a pandemic occur. We are, in tune to them. So I know Mr. Challenger is doing that, and we do request our seniors to go on the state's website, Register Ready, and enroll themselves. It's a self-enrollment process. So that's another mechanism that we have in place.
One last topic, can I make one? Is that Hainesport Township looking for any more sanitizing wipes, spray bottle, or any kind?
Are we? We're good. We just received another shipment of that. I believe the end of last week.
Okay. That's good. And what was the thing? 10 concept for responding to my email. I appreciate it for them.
Okay, thank you, Louis. Does anybody else have any comments out there or questions?
I do. This is Steve Barra. I'm at 119 Mason Woods Lane.
Okay.
And that's P-A-R-R-A.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also concerned about the development that potentially could be going in over there on the other side of the creek. And I'm eager to this process too. So, just briefly, my question is, would that approval also include things like traffic studies and access for fire trucks and things like that onto that site?
So the fire official has to approve any and all developments, in my opinion, from me. And I'm sure a traffic study is going to be part of any presentation, as they normally are for projects of this type. Pardon me?
Okay, all right.
Okay. Any other?
Okay, again, I didn't hear, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the response.
So traffic studies and fire official approvals are generally part of the planning board process.
Okay, and those are open for public comment also, or review?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
The only other thing I want to say is thank you for putting this online. And I know this was not easy to do from a technical standpoint.
Okay, I have one audience member who wants to make a comment, but I'm gonna give last call to the internet listeners. Okay, we'll end public.
Okay.
Mark, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I just had a question. January timeframe, they passed out some paperwork on what they were gonna do. The residents that live in the area right across from we're talking about. My brother told it up, and I was gonna hand it to you, he said, no, you might be do with it. So, since then, I know it's been going around. I don't have it with me, I figured I was taking care of it. My question today is, performance bond for Commerce Center Urban Renewal, who's that?
John?
That's the redevelopment project on 38, the warehouse.
Okay, Hainesport, across from where the tunnel is on Creek Road. If you drive by there, which you may not, there's all kinds of flags on there, there's things plugged into the sidewalk. They've got it all flagged out for whatever reason. So, take a look. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. Somebody knows what the hell's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
The people are putting it out.
Yeah.
The company that's putting it out, put out to people that lived in that neighborhood right across the street. And when I brought it up, he said you didn't want because that's when they're putting everybody in the office at the beginning of the year. If you'd like, I can get you another copy and hand it to you. But that way at least you'll know, because I've also had discussions with board members that said, yeah, they knew about it.
Well, I didn't know they closed on the property, but typically, if somebody wants to buy a property without approvals, and close on it, I mean, usually there's a deposit made, pending on approvals, but if somebody wants to buy a property, I don't think there's anything we can really do about it as a governing body. The planning board, will see fit to give him his approvals or not. I mean, whether he owns it, the onus is on him to buy it.
I was just talking about all the stuff that was like going on.
Well, typically they'll do borings and phase 1 and phase 2, due diligence and I wasn't aware that it closed. So that's new. And I don't know if that's a fact or not at this point. I just heard it. So we're going to close public comment. So now we have comments from the administrator.
I can report, a couple weeks ago, I started having conversations with the recreation coordinator about Community Day. We both feel it's in our best interest and the safety of the residents that we do not have Community Day this year on, I think it was June 6th, perhaps. Rather, she would like to propose having a fall festival, potentially on the second weekend in October. So that is something that she is recommending. We still will continue on with the movies in the park, the concerts in the park, as that's further on in the year. I do want to express my thanks to all of the staff here at the township who has continued to work through this pandemic. A lot of municipalities are doing things differently based on their needs in their municipalities and their makeup and their building. So I'd like to thank Public Works for continuing to work through this and serving the residents. Now that everybody's home, there's a lot of debris being put out, a lot of bulk being put out in our and branches and brush and vegetation, and our Public Works crew is showing up every day and making sure that service continues, as well as the administration staff here. We have been working together and making sure that we are all safe. Everybody does have their own individual office to work out of. Quite frankly, we can assign everybody their own bathroom as well. So we are making it work. Won't lie and tell you that it's not stressful, but we're doing what we have to do for the residents of Hainesport, as the governor has clearly defined government employees as essential. And fortunately, as the administrator, the employee designation is a local management decision based on our operational needs, and we've made that work. So I do want to thank all the employees for sticking together and doing what's right for the community and being here for the residents. That's it. Thank you.
Comments from our solicitor?
I just wanted to clarify something. Mr. Murdy had asked me earlier that if I had any problems understanding the resolution on Second Amendment, he'd be happy to, if I should ask questions, and my answer was I don't have any problems with it. I want to be clear about, I don't have any problems understanding it. I certainly have problems with it, but I don't have any problems understanding it. Okay.
Comments from the committee? I'm going to start with our telephone partners. Lee?
Yes, here.
Would you like to make a comment?
So, in time, what?
Would you?
We're here. We can hear you.
Okay. In times of uncertainty, Concerning decisions are bad. We should postpone any large spending decisions until we see how this plays out. I also want to mention that Governor Murphy closed all county and state parks. Please stay safe, and thank you for tuning in.
Ted?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, we please, everybody will stay safe for the next couple of months. I still haven't liked this, and that's what everybody's doing. Quick comment, the committee did pass this past December, a resolution basically authorizing, the low-income housing or low-income housing placement on 9.56 acres on the site, that somebody was talking about. That's all public knowledge. And I was against it then, and I'm still against it. I think it's the wrong location, it's dangerous, it's a railroad trestle. The only way for these people to get public transportation is through that trestle. And I think we're asking for someone to get hurt by allowing it to happen. And I invite anybody who wants to object to it to come to the planning board meeting and complain. That's it, I just want to be safe.
Okay. Leila?
Okay, well, in difficult times, we rise to the challenge. I want to thank everyone that is helping to keep our town safe and healthy. We have incredible individuals that are going above and beyond. Our township employees and first responders that have been providing excellent service during this stressful time. Several community members have stepped up. Seiko Badges and Ginger Thiemann have been sewing, and Bruce Levinson has been using his 3D printer, providing personal protective masks. There are many others that are either making or have provided supplies to them. Additional residents have provided us with diversions, such as posting photos on Facebook from past community days, Guy Hessel, and current porch portraits by Alea Buck. Others have organized teddy bear hunts and Easter egg hunts, and the fire department is bringing the Easter Bunny around on Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. I am so proud of our community. With continued adherence to the safety precautions that have been put in place, I am hopeful that we will be back to school, work, and our everyday lives, grateful that this is over. I wish everyone who observes a very happy Passover, Easter, and Ramadan. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry?
Yeah, I hope everybody stays safe. Try to stay home. That's important. I do have a concern that I thought we were going to discuss tonight, but we didn't. When the governor has his Thursday meeting, I don't know what he's going to allow us to do, but my hope is he's going to allow us to give deferment of taxes to the individuals that need it, not a blanket deferment. I think there's a way in which we would be able to, because probably 30% of the people in this town are probably going to be unemployed or in situations where they're not making their ordinary income. So I have some concerns, and I don't think the people that have fixed incomes, in this case, actually aren't affected by this. It's the people who are waitresses, music teachers. There's people that aren't employed with public education. Those people and the businesses that aren't open, it will do us no good to come down on them and close them down because they can't pay taxes. So I'm hoping the governor gives us the power to offer some type of deferment in a qualifying position as opposed to blanket, because we get blanket deferment, some people aren't going to pay their taxes. They don't have to. So I'm just concerned, and I'm hopeful that the governor gives us that ability. Stay safe.
And we definitely had discussed some sort of a extended grace period on the payment of taxes, and as I found out one more time, you cannot always do what you think you can do up here. I was advised that that is not our decision to make. So we're going to hope that the legislation adopts some sort of rules. And as I think a lot of us have seen, the state has suspended a lot of their discretionary payments, property rebates and so on and so forth. They're all suspended because the state is anticipating a huge revenue shortage, for this year, so. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was I appreciate, Paula humoring me with, cordoning off the playground equipment. We, are, working hard to safeguard our residents, especially the children. We can't possibly get out there and sanitize the playground equipment every hour or even every day. So the playground equipment was, deemed off limits, and we all have seen that parents are letting their children play on that playground equipment. So some residents, said to me, well, what are you doing to keep the children off the playground equipment? Why don't you put the tape up? So we put tape up. Hopefully some parents will get the message. We'll see what happens, but I appreciate, Paula, you humoring me with that, and the Public Works Department. And I don't even want to bring humor into it, but if the parents out there don't know better to keep their children off their equipment, I don't necessarily see what the tape is going to do, but certain residents wanted to see it, and I try to make everybody happy here, and so we did it, and thank you for that, Paula. And with that, ends our comments section, and we have an executive session tonight?
No, sir, you only have to, just bill list and adjournment.
So, we have a bill list open for a motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
I second that.
Second.
Okay.
Yes.
Lee, to pay the bills?
Second.
Ted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And meeting is adjourned, at 8:35 by that clock. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
It was unusual, but it was, interesting at the same time.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep. Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.